Great. Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Ruane. I am a graduate of Hill from the class of 2013, which means, yes, my 10-year reunion is coming up about a week from now. So if you haven't registered, you should. But anyway, I currently live in Washington, D.C., and I work for Congresswoman Madeleine Dean as her Deputy Chief of Staff. She represents Montgomery County, which is where the Hill School is, part of Montgomery County, as well as part of Berks County right next to it. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the importance of pursuing your passions and interests during my chapel talk. And it's actually funny because about 10 years and probably 2 or 3 months ago, I was giving a chapel talk in front of the entire school before I graduated. So that's very exciting. I also forgot to mention that here in DC, I am the DC chapter president. So if you are in DC and interested, feel free to reach out to me. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about pursuing your interests and passions, and I'm actually going to take you guys back to when I was in the 8th grade. So as I mentioned, I worked for Congresswoman Madeleine Dean, and I have had an interest in politics since the 8th grade. It was 2008 election of Obama and McCain, and I remember my student government and history professor at that time was looking for students to help run a mock election at our school, and I joined. Not really expecting much of it, but had such a fun time creating posters, tallying votes, ensuring that classes understood the process of how to do it. And it just, I think, really ignited in me an interest in politics and how it works. And so fast forward to my time at Hill, I was a member of the Student Government Association. Again, just wanted to be involved in school and enjoyed examining, the government process at all levels. And I also took my 6th form year a class with Mr. Walter, his American politics class. And I took it with a bunch of my friends because we all thought it would be, a good 6th form class. But he did a really great job of really ingraining us in what was happening in current political events. We had to come to class with a new political cartoon every week. And if we had the same political cartoon as one of our classmates, we got points deducted. So it was fun to make sure that none of us had the same political cartoon. But, ultimately he would force us to join different sides of an argument and, make your case about it. And one of the big ones was about what to do with radiation material. But, overall, he just really encouraged us to be involved and integrated in politics and in current events and know what was happening. And we actually had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. my 6th form year and meet with people who are working in the executive office building next to the White House, hear a little bit about what they do, about how DC functions. And it just, again, kept me interested in government and politics. And so when I went to college, I went to Bucknell University. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to major in. And, I knew that I had an interest in political science, but I thought to myself, what would I ever do with a political science degree? Like at the time, and even now, I was like, I don't have an interest in running for office. That can always change. That's an important thing to note. But I had said, what am I going to do if I'm not running for office with a political science degree? So I delayed and delayed, tried to go into a marketing major, didn't really enjoy it. And eventually my parents came to me and were kind of like, you have always had this interest in politics. Why not just do the major, see how it goes, and go from there? And so that is what I did. And actually the summer after my junior year, so right before my senior year, I was selected at Bucknell to participate in a paid internship program from the school, a public policy paid internship. And I had secured an internship on Capitol Hill. And it was one of the best summers of my life. The joke that I kind of always tell people is that rarely do people get excited to wake up at 8 a.m. in the summer in DC in 90% humidity and stuff onto a metro to ride 20 minutes to be an intern somewhere. And I was really lucky to have the funding because it wouldn't have been possible without that. But it was kind of the first job experience in my life that I really actually thoroughly enjoyed what I did every day. Whether it was speaking to constituents on the phone or helping in some cases write letters or prepare memos. It just further instilled in me the fact that I did have this interest in it. So I graduated from Bucknell in 2017 with a degree in political science and Italian. And I had kind of made it my mission after my internship on the Hill to pursue a career on the Hill. And that is a very lengthy and difficult process, but essentially I moved to DC and I'd actually worked outside of politics for a year in a sales position. And while it was not for me, it was beneficial from, a networking experience, and just for a first come out of college, it was great. But I kind of moved, I made this idea of moving to DC in the interest of really pursuing this thing that I was passionate about. And so I ended up quitting my job and taking an unpaid internship on Capitol Hill, which I was very fortunate enough to be able to do. I slept on a friend's couch for a couple of months and paid her a very reduced rent. And through that time, to bring it back to Hill, I really networked with a lot of people who were either on Capitol Hill or in DC and had connections. And it was just I was really thankful for all of the support and help that they gave. And I ultimately ended up getting a job in this office through a connection from my college, from Bucknell University. But I remember when I had started, everyone that I had connected with was still so incredibly helpful and gracious as I kind of got my footing in my first job on Capitol Hill. So I started as a staff assistant in the office and have had a couple of positions since. I've been in the office now for a little bit over 4 years. And as I mentioned, I'm our deputy chief of staff. So that entails kind of, I do a lot of operations in our office. I do all of our scheduling. I assist in policy in some ways. I'm kind of a jack of all trades and try and just jump in wherever I can be helpful. But, this opportunity that I have is twofold, so incredible to me. One, because it's an interest that I'm really passionate about. I've been passionate about it, as I mentioned, since 8th grade. But two, doing this has also given me the opportunity to give back to a community that really helped bring me to where I am. And I don't even mean just the Hill School, but I grew up in Montgomery County in Schwenksville. Since I was a baby, and then I went to Hill, obviously also within Montgomery County. And this has given me the opportunity to really give back to those people and to stay connected as well. My sister teaches at Hill. My other sister used to teach at Hill. I have friends who are still in the area. So it's just allowed me to really remain close to home and where I was from, which I think is really great. But, even aside from that, this kind of little thing that used to be a hobby of mine or used to be an interest of mine has kind of set the trajectory of my, early career and my 20s. And, aside, it's given me the opportunity to travel to Ireland for work, to visit, a couple of different states in the US to learn about different policy. I was able to watch a full Grammy rehearsal this year, actually, which was incredible. But most importantly, as I said, it's given me the opportunity to give back to a community, to help the people who helped me. And I think that's really special. And I recognize a lot of the privilege that I had while being able to do this. I had incredibly supportive parents who were like, you should do a thing that you want to do, not something that you just think you should do. And I was really grateful for them to kind of steer me in that direction, and grateful for everyone else who has allowed me to do this. And I think the big message that I would try and get across to everyone is, even if you can't pursue your interests or hobbies into a profession, pursue them in your personal life, pursue them outside of work. This little thing that started as me running a mock election for Obama and McCain has led me to be a deputy chief of staff for the member of Congress that represents where I grew up. And I think that's pretty cool. So that'd be my piece of advice. That's what I part you with, is find ways to pursue your passions and your interests, because I think it can make a big difference in your life. So thank you.